Welcome to Heal and Grow with Nikki. I'm your host, Nikki Kreminga Hill. Here we talk about everything: grief, hope, illness, work, family, tragedy, possibilities, fun stuff, and not so fun stuff. It's all on the table. Let's take a look at our lives and work to heal and grow together. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Heal and Grow with Nikki. I'm so excited. I have a very special guest today. My dear friend, Colleen Lindstrom, is here. After a 20-year successful career in broadcasting, including 10 years as the co-host of the Colleen and Bradley Show on My Talk 107.1, Colleen Lindstrom made a pivotal choice to transition from the world of media and Hollywood gossip to prioritize her family. Colleen and her husband, Matt, are the parents of 2 daughters in heaven and 3 children on earth, the youngest of whom are twins. Colleen is not only a devoted dance and baseball mom, she is also a compassionate caregiver for her mother, who is battling dementia. Beyond her familial roles, Colleen passionately advocates for breaking the cycles of perfectionism, drawing from her own journey to encourage others to embrace imperfections and live authentically. Her story is one of resilience, love, and a commitment to nurturing meaningful connections while challenging societal expectations. In her multifaceted life, Colleen Lindstrom exemplifies the strength that comes from embracing imperfections. From a successful broadcasting career to being a dedicated mother and caregiver, she navigates life's challenges with authenticity and resilience. Colleen's advocacy extends beyond her personal journey as she encourages others to prioritize fulfillment over perfection, fostering a narrative that resonates with the essence of genuine, meaneful living.
That
Easy for me to say.
Holy fucking
Who wrote
shit.
that?
AI, bitch.
Hell yeah, right? I got to start doing that with everything.
Everything.
Oh my gosh.
I live for it.
Ladies and germs, I am so excited to introduce you to Colleen Lindstrom.
Oh, I'm just happy to be in front of you
Hi.
and in space with you.
You're in my house.
I love this.
You haven't been in my house in a while.
It's been way too long.
It really has been. I'm just thrilled to see you.
It's so fun to be with you. And I want the world to know that this is not a new friendship.
No, we've been friends since God
decades.
was a boy.
Literally decades. No, we danced together. Nikki and I danced together when we were, I think, 6.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I'm a couple years older than you.
Did you start with Mrs. Holmes?
Yes.
Okay, me
Did
too.
you?
Yeah. When I was 3.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, you did. You just forgot.
Well, my mom probably knew it.
Yeah.
Because I remember you when we danced together at MBJT, Minneapolis Ballet, Jazz, and Tap.
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm going to have to go through all of my photos.
We were not in the same classes when we were, because you're a year older than I am.
Okay.
So we weren't in the same class at Mrs. Holmes. You guys, FYI, in case you're like, who's Mrs. Holmes? Lois Holmes.
Lois Holmes.
And she taught in her basement of her South Minneapolis home.
Yeah.
And we took with her until she retired. And then we all moved, everybody from Mrs. Holmes moved over to Minneapolis Ballet, Jazz, and Tap Company. And you and I were both in the Lakettes.
Yes. So that's what I remember. Yeah. We were a pretty big deal, actually.
We were.
This was kind of when dance competitions, I feel like, were really starting to kick off. And I mean, Colleen has a daughter who dances, so, she knows all about, and I know this, but maybe you don't know this, to your listener, is that dance competitions are crazy now.
They're bonkers.
And the way the kids are dancing, they're so, I don't know, they just have so much more skill than I ever had. It's incredible. But when we were dancing together when we were little, I feel like dance competitions just had kind of started.
Totally.
And we were really good, actually.
We won a lot of first place ribbons.
We sure did.
Yes.
We sure did.
Yeah. So we danced together growing up. And then when that dance company fell apart, that's another story for a different podcast. You went one direction.
Yeah.
Not the band One Direction. You went to one dance school.
I'm sure that's what everybody was
You're
wondering.
Harry Styles and I'm Niall Horan. No, you went to a competitive dance company, and I did not. I went to a different kind of dance company. And then we went to church together, though, at Mount Olivet. Yep. We're just going to name drop all the places we've been
Here's
together.
our entire life. Here's where we've been.
We camped. We went to camp together at Cathedral of the Pines, but then we went to college together, and we got to dance again together in college.
Yes.
So we've literally been, I mean, we've been knowing each other forever, but have been friends for a long time.
Well, probably like almost 40 years,
for
maybe?
sure, half of my life.
Oh, yeah, because we started off. So I started dancing. The very first place I went instead of Mrs. Holmes was the Y.
Oh.
I think it was the Y or something. Maybe I just made that up.
Sure.
I probably just made that up. But I was 3 when I started dancing. So, gosh, Colleen, if I've known you since I was 3, that is 45 years.
Yes, it's a long time.
Oh my gosh. It's okay if you say ass on here.
It's a long ass time. Yeah, we've known each other for a long, long time. We've been through all kinds of things together. Fun things, not so fun things. Yeah. But here we are with microphones in our face.
Emotional, like of happiness, but also just thinking about, because like most friendships I think this is sort of typical. Like Colleen and I have always been friends. And also there's been moments where like we're together all the time for like 6 months, and then it's we drop off for a little bit, and we it just kind of ebbs and flows. We're always friends, but like how much time we spend together
changes,
varies. Yeah. And so I was just so excited when I asked Colleen if she wanted to be on the podcast, because I don't know. I haven't seen you in a long time, and I'm just so happy that you're here.
And
so
it's just
thank
like
you.
a fun way to catch up too. So now everybody can just listen while
to
we
us catching up, which is so funny. Because really, that's what I call these like interviews, but I don't market it that way. I always say like yours will be like a conversation with Colleen Lindstrom, because that's what it is. It's just like someone's peering in on our conversation.
Yeah.
Colleen has super big news, and it just so happens that timing wise, this worked out for her. Yeah. And me, obviously, to have her as a guest. But Colleen, do you want to tell us your super big awesome news?
I have begun my own podcast. And it is not without hiccups. However, the thing I'm focusing on is living a bronze medal life. So when you think about like how, I don't know, I just feel like we're so conditioned to try to aspire to perfection and like unattainable things.
Yep.
And I feel like if we could just get comfortable, like my tagline is, it's okay to just be okay.
Yes.
And I always feel like I also need to caveat that by saying it is also okay to not be okay. And that is different from what I'm saying. Because if you are not okay, that needs a different type of attention. But also it's sort of almost like validating that by saying it's also okay to just be okay.
Yeah.
Because some days, you know how when somebody says to you, like, how are you doing? And the real answer is like, actually not great, Bob, but I'm not doing great.
Yeah.
But we always say, I'm good. Right. I'm good.
Bullshit.
I don't want to do that. I'm not about that life.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm about being authentic because I feel like if we all talked about it more, we wouldn't all be chasing this unattainable thing.
Oh my gosh.
So, that triggers my anxiety big time.
Yeah.
So I am a person who struggles with anxiety and depression. And part of what triggers that is this pursuit of something I can't attain.
Right.
So if I
you
can't, I cannot.
Like either like you actually can't, or it's like, that is, you know what? That's too much work. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Like I don't want to put the work in.
Right.
So I started a podcast to kind of like, and I also have a Substack. And
Tell us what a Substack is.
So, I don't know. This is how I describe it. I'm sure that people who are like actual journalists can like there are really good journalists on Substack. You don't need to qualify to be on Substack. You just have to write things.
Oh, I see.
So it's literally like the new version of a blog.
Yeah.
And it's so it's I like to write. I'm an essay style writer. And I like to write. I like to do writing. So I write.
I like to do
I
writing.
like to do words. So I write, I do a podcast, and I also have a little store for fun because I also want people to wear cheeky t-shirts and things. I don't know. It's just like I just
Colleen's
like that.
store is really, really fun, y'all. It's, I mean, I will link all of this
Yay.
in the show notes because you have to get on board. You have to. I'm making you. Like her merch. I'll let her talk about her merch, but I think because I know Colleen, some of it's just extra super duper funny to me. Like, I don't want to give away your whole first podcast,
that's okay.
but like, will you please tell us about Sad Lion?
I would love to tell you about Sad Lion. So I have a 17-year-old now today. He's 17, and I have twins who are 13. And my youngest twin, who's 1 minute younger than his sister, is a character. And they're all characters, but he's a special kind of character. So when they were about like 3, his twin sister dressed up as a leopard for Halloween, and his older brother, my oldest boy, dressed up as Anakin Skywalker, and he had like a lightsaber and the whole 9 yards.
Of course.
And Keller, my youngest, he decided he wanted to be a lion, so we got him this cute like fuzzy lion onesie with like a little lion mask, and Halloween was ruined when he realized that he didn't get a lightsaber. And so there's this picture we're trying to like line him up. And this is the thing that's not in the parenting books. Like the amount of anxiety that arises when you're trying to just get your kids to stand still for a picture.
Oh yeah,
it's ugly, right? Like we're not our best selves. We're like, just one picture, please.
You look nice for the camera. It's all I'm asking.
Like I'm yelling at them. So we get them all lined up on the front steps, and my daughter's face is like looks like it's going to jump off of her skin. She's so happy. And my older son with his like lightsaber, he looks like he's like living his best Star Wars life. And my Keller, my lion, is sitting down with his little paws like folded just so in his lap. And the look of sadness and forlorn on his face is so comical.
Keller, I'm sorry I'm laughing at you.
No, you shouldn't be sorry because he's in on the joke.
And he's not even looking nowhere near the camera. He's like looking off to the side.
It's literally, I have a friend who has a band who was like, we were going to make that the cover of our album because we were looking for the saddest picture we could find. And it truly is. I mean, there's just so much. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Idea.
So every Halloween we roll it out, and we celebrate at our house because I hate Halloween. We celebrate Sad Lion Day.
Yeah.
So we put our like both my husband and I put the picture everywhere. And it was my sister-in-law. She goes, "Why don't you sell Sad Lion merch on your website?" And I was like, that will be corrected by tomorrow. And so I made a couple different things. There will be more. I just sort of like threw some stuff out there because I needed the world to have Sad Lion. But you can get like a mug. You can get like a little cosmetic bag, t-shirts.
Oh my God. It's adorable.
Here's the best part. So in order to use the likeness of Keller, again, he's a quirky kid, I had to promise him I'd give him part of the proceeds.
Yeah.
But the other part, so he gets like 50% of the proceeds, but the other 50% of the proceeds goes to the Minnesota Zoo Foundation. So that sad lions can be happy lions.
Oh, so sad lions can be happy lions. Yeah. Why am I emotional about that?
Because that's what Sad Lion does to people.
Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea.
Isn't that fun?
It's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Every year, Colleen changes her profile picture on Halloween with no comment. There would a while ago there was a comment, but like this year, I think at some point in the comments you were like, "Happy Sad Lion Day to those who celebrate." But I remember I forget about it every single year. I forget about this, and then I see it, and I know this year I was like, I look forward to this every year.
It's the best.
I mean, it's so great. And I think, have you guys tried, maybe I'm making this up. Have you guys tried to recreate that picture with
Not yet. We talk about it all the time.
You need to do it when they're like 40.
We're going to have to, it's going to be a while because Keller is also not cooperative. So he has not dressed up since Sad Lion. Do you know this?
Oh no.
He's a Halloween Scrooge like me. So that's my first podcast is about how I'm a Halloween Scrooge.
Yeah, you kind of are.
I fully have raised another Halloween Scrooge.
So wow. Okay, that's interesting to me. Was he like kind of scarred by that experience?
He just doesn't like to dress up. It's just like a thing.
Okay.
He loves to trick or treat. He's totally gone trick or treating.
Yeah.
He just won't dress up.
Oh, interesting.
I know. And I just, this is my thing with my kids. I'm like, you do you.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. I don't try to get him into a costume. I send him out there to trick or treat and whatever he's wearing. And if people get mad about it, listen, I don't have the energy for that.
Right. Just give the kids some candy.
Just give the kids some dang candy.
Right?
Whatever. Why do people get so worked up about that?
I get worked up about a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Just like one of the things that was my mom's pet peeve was Christmas lights that are up too early or past their prime. She would get just like irrationally upset about people's however they wanted to time their holiday decorations. Like, it's February, take them down. And I think for a while I was just, especially when I was a kid, I sort of just adopted whatever my parents thought because I didn't have my own thoughts yet, I guess. But lately, and especially during the pandemic, I noticed this. People started decorating for like the holiday season super early. It was like
all we had.
I know. And my first instinct was to be like, it is way before the holiday season. And I was like, why do you even flipping care?
Yeah.
Let people just do what they want.
Right.
If I don't like the decorations, I don't have to put them up at my house.
Yeah. You're good.
It's all good.
Yes.
So I would really love to talk today about, we're going to just tangent all over the place, which is great. So Colleen had this really interesting job that I will let her explain, but it was for a talk radio station here in the Twin Cities area, and it was all about celebrity gossip. So she went from that. She was at that station for years and years and years in a couple of different positions, but like her bio said, she was most noted for being on the Colleen and Bradley show.
Yeah.
For those of you that listen to that station, here's a little throwback for you. Cobra. Yeah. We're hysterical.
Yeah, that was good.
I loved that. And, so she went from that. And then recently, in the past year and a half, and I'm really nutshelling this, but, decided to step away from that and now is concentrating on the bronze medal life and owning your authenticity and your vulnerability, which I'm here for. Snaps. So to go from reporting on celebrity news and gossip to, living your own personal journey, like what has that transition been like for you?
So, okay, well, there's like this is like an onion. This is like an emotional onion. But I just was thinking about this the other day. So I'm a huge Swiftie. Like, I love Taylor Swift's music. I think she is like the icon we need right now.
Okay, pause. Taylor and Travis, yay or nay?
Oh my gosh, so glad you brought that up because that's exactly where I was going.
Oh,
with this.
okay, sorry. Go
Honestly,
ahead.
it's so funny because I have been noticing I am not invested in that relationship at all.
Interesting.
And I have a friend who's like texting me all the time, and she's like texting me TikToks and look at they kissed backstage, and look at he totally like loves her, and look at him, they're in Argentina together and blah blah blah. And I had a moment where I went, I think I need to tell her I can't do this.
Interesting.
And I texted her back and I said, listen, I love this for you. I want you to be 150% in on this. I want you to obsess about this every spare moment you have because I see it brings you joy.
Yeah.
I need you to know I am enjoying not giving a bleep about it.
Yeah. Well, because that was like, that's if you were working there right now,
I would be talking about it constantly,
right.
And I would be deep into it. And she would send me a TikTok where this woman was like, it was like 10 minutes of her going very deep on every single thing that Taylor had done in the night and what it had to do with Travis at the concert in Argentina. I mean, like, and I watched it and I went, oh my gosh, I would have been doing this a year ago.
Yeah. For monies.
Yes. And getting paid. But I realized there's a freedom in not caring
Oh my God.
about what other people are doing anymore. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean, I was good at the job. Okay. I don't even like to say I was good at the job.
She was excellent at the job.
I did the job. Thank you. But I was good at it, or the reason why I got hired to do that job is because some of it was actually really natural. Like I've always been a pop culture junkie.
Yeah.
I have always loved television. I've always loved movies. I've always loved celebrities. I'm all in. But there is a difference between how you process that on a daily basis when like the stress of, I know this sounds so like wah, but it is stressful to do a show for 3 hours, talk about a thing, and then the second you get off the air, there is not a moment to look back and go, what did we do well? How did we do? All I'm thinking about the next minute at 3:01 is how am I going to do this again tomorrow?
Yeah.
5 days a week.
Yep.
Then you get off on Friday, and that's the first time, 3:01 on Friday. And this is my experience. I do want to be really clear about that. This is not everybody's experience, but this was my experience.
Yeah.
I'd get off the air on Friday at 3:01. And then it would be like the letdown. Like I'd be like, oh, okay, now I can be like present for my family and not be like worried about what the celebrities are doing. And I'm here and I can be present and accounted for. And then Sunday would roll around and the panic would start again.
Yeah.
And I'd go, oh my gosh, I have 3 hours to fill tomorrow.
Right.
And I have to be innovative and creative.
Right.
And the grind of that made me not my favorite person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I loved it, and it was not easy.
Sure.
And it was really the people who paid the price the most for it were my kids.
Yeah. And especially your time frame, right? Because you were on noon to 3.
So at the same time, just as I was wrapping up working at My Talk, my mom was diagnosed with dementia, and she was we moved her into assisted living, and she's still in the assisted living. And what was so hard for me is between noon and 3, I was unreachable.
Yeah.
So I was reachable, but not like I couldn't do anything. So like if my mom was having a problem, I was always the one that she called. I have an older brother, but he lives in Wisconsin. So everything comes to me. I'm the caregiver. So I would get texts with questions, and I couldn't even look at the text because you don't do that when you're talking. When my only job is to talk to the person across the table from me, the rudest thing for me to do is to pick up my phone and look at my phone.
Right.
While we're in the middle of a performance, right?
Right.
So I couldn't check it, but I would know, like, oh gosh, something's going on my phone. And I couldn't be there for my mom when she needed me. And then I would miss like the kids' things. And my older son is really accomplished at baseball. So he would be traveling for baseball, and I would be trying to pay attention to a game.
Oh, sure.
At the same time.
Do your job.
And do my job. And I just, the feeling of being torn between all of those things, it made me care less about the celebrities and what they were doing.
Right.
Because I was like missing out on my own stuff. And I would get kind of mad about it. Like, how do I know every single move that Kim Kardashian has made in the last week? And I cannot remember what my kids wore to school today.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is not where I need to be right now. Where I need to be is with the people I care about. And I am not doing anything that I want to do well right now. I didn't feel like I was doing radio as well as I wanted to. And I for sure didn't feel like I was parenting. To say nothing of the fact that like we lived through a global pandemic. I mean, don't even get me started. That's why I'm here. So anyway, that's kind of like, so yes, now being removed from it, I realize like, I'm like, Taylor, love who you want, girl. I hope you're happy. Right, just make me some good music and I'm happy. I'm good. I'm good. We're good.
We're good, Tay.
Yeah. So, but I still love, like, I mean, they look adorable together. I want her to be happy.
Excuse me. I hate that I'm invested. I'm not a Swiftie. Like, I don't even know most of her music. The only songs that I know are stuff that's on the radio, you know? But I saw that video of her running backstage to kiss him, and I was like, oh, I hope you guys are happy together.
I mean, they look happy. Whatever's happening is making her happy right now.
Right.
And that's
all that matters.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like I was faking it. I was really like super into it. But also, you also have to remember, like, trying to fill 3 hours a day.
Right.
Of Hollywood gossip, you can get real deep into it real quick.
Right.
Now I get to fill in, which is so like my lifestyle, because I don't have the stress of like needing to do it on the constant grind. So I show up, I have the best time, and then I'm like, bye. And then I don't know when I'll do it again.
That's so fun for me as a listener because I'll tune in and I'll be like, oh, Colleen's on the radio today. You know, it's so fun.
And then you get to hang out with your friend for 3 hours.
I know. I love it. And another mutual friend of ours, Zoe, she does a lot of the voice work. So I'll turn on the radio, and when I hear both you and Zoe, I'm like, this is so cool. My friends are on the radio. Greatest. Yeah. Okay, so bronze medal life.
Yeah.
Honoring, uplifting, acknowledging mediocrity. Maybe not mediocrity, but just like
you don't have to win the gold medal.
Right.
You don't have to be the best at everything.
Right.
Or anything.
Right. I love that because here's the deal, Colleen. I know that I don't have to win the gold, but I like medals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this way I still get one.
You still get one. You totally still get one.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you a story. I haven't ever told this publicly. Ooh. And it might surprise you, actually. There's a couple, like the bronze medal life has always been percolating in my life. It hasn't always been the concept of bronze medal life. But it's always sort of been kind of a thread that keeps pulling through my life. And I'm always on a journey with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not living my best bronze medal life. Sometimes I lose touch with that. But there are a couple times in my life where I've like relearned the concept that like I'm never going to be the best at anything. And it sounds terrible to say because I can see how you can misconstrue that to think like, oh, she doesn't think she's good at anything. And that's not necessarily true.
Right.
I'm probably good at a lot of things. But the first time I realized, like, do you know why I quit dancing? I'll just start there. Do you know why I quit dancing?
I don't actually. And ladies and germs and others, Colleen is a stunning dancer. She's a beautiful dancer. It's always been just like a privilege to share class or stage space with you. And I don't know the story about why you stopped, I don't think.
I stopped dancing because I realized I couldn't be the best at it. That's sad, right? That's like a super sad story. And it was one of those things where I was at an age and a stage. So I majored in dance in college.
Yeah.
And I taught for like a year right after college, but I didn't perform and I didn't take class. And the reason why was because in our last dance concert, I just had a moment where I was like, I'm never going to be good at this. I'm never going to be the best at this.
Oh, wow.
And if I can't be the best, I don't want to do it anymore. So I quit. And the problem with quitting dance is when you realize you shouldn't have quit dance, it's a lot harder to get back in. And so years passed before I realized how much my body missed it and how much my heart missed it and how much I needed it for more than just the dance and the art. Oh my gosh, you're going to cry and so am I now.
Yeah, sorry. I'm totally crying right now.
No, it's okay. So I like denied that was so central to who I was until I finally like let that thing go where I was like, who cares if I'm not going to be the best? Who cares? And I tried to go back to class. And the hardest part about going back to dancing is going back to dancing.
Yeah.
When your body is like, hey, guess what? We haven't done this for a little while. And maybe you want me to stretch back into the place where I was before, but I'm not really able to do that. So it was, I just got so discouraged and so sad. And I just decided I couldn't do it anymore. So here's like the beauty in the story. Not beauty. It's not beauty. Here's the good piece of the story is that I did find ways at different times in my life when I needed it. Dance was still there for me. And I did it in the way I could. And so like I used to take a hip hop class called the Funky Ladies, and I got to do a recital with my daughter.
Oh,
Not
fun.
in, like we didn't dance together, but we were in the same recital.
At the same studio.
And I loved that. And someday I probably will go back to that. And I've always had like dance still in me. And I am at a better place now because I'm 46 and I've had some babies and I've had some time and I've had some life experience where I realize like the dance can come out of me however it's able to.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be the best.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it's kind of sad though when you really think about that's how much I got in my own way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think well, firstly, thank you for just sharing that. I feel like that's a common thing with people. I mean, I know I have a very difficult time starting something new. Like painting is a thing that I've really started to love doing, but it has taken me a really long time to just show up and be bronze medal at it.
Yeah.
Because my paintings are fine, but I don't have any formal training. And so I get really stuck there. Like, well, if you don't have formal training, then, you have no business trying to do this and then make a profit from it. And, but you're right. We get in our own headspace, our own way, but it's just fine to show up and be completely average at something.
And what if the thing that makes you so good at it is the fact that you're unique or the fact that you're not trained in it, right? That's the thing that makes you interesting, right? Like I think about that too. Like, I had one of the things that I loved about working at the radio station is we got to partner with all these like wonderful, Alive and Kickin' was one of them, great nonprofits. And I would always learn from them. And one of them that we worked with at one point, doing a fundraiser was Interact Center for the Arts.
Oh my gosh. They're an incredible organization.
They are such an incredible organization. And, one of the things that they talk about is, working your quirk.
Work your quirk.
Work your quirk. And I love that because it's like we get I think part of it is like, okay, I mean, I could wax on for days about this, but I do think some of it has to do with like how the school system is set up and how we are taught, like you must learn these things in this way and you get an A, B, a C, a D, or an F.
Absolutely.
Right. And like, so there's such like we're taught, right, what is right and wrong. And our lanes are so small and so rigid. But the truth is there's so much room for all kinds of different ways to do things.
Yeah.
There's no straight line anywhere. You can arrive at things. And I always was like waiting for somebody to anoint me something.
Oh, me too. I was just or like waiting for permission.
Yeah, like
someone else to suggest it.
Yeah. But you get to
this is interesting.
Be an expert.
Because Colleen, I don't know if you remember this conversation that we had. This was years ago. Because I've dabbled in 1,000 different occupations. But for a hot second, I wanted to be a professional organizer.
I almost finished your sentence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I really, I love, it's interesting. I'm not necessarily that organized myself, but I like knowing where things are. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me just be in a free space, both, literally and figuratively. So I was taking these classes on how to be a professional organizer. And I think we were out for happy hour or something. And you told me, because I was saying something like, I don't know if I was talking about imposter syndrome, or I was like, I'm not ready yet to tell people that I'm doing this because I in my opinion, I hadn't done it long enough. And you said, just tell people you're an expert. And I was like, what? She says, oh my God, we get people on the radio all the time. Like, I'm an expert in this, that, or the other thing. And they don't know what they're talking about. They just,
true.
Yeah. You're like, they just said they were an expert. And so she's like, so Colleen said, just say you're an expert and you're going to start working. And then when you start working, you're going to understand what the job is. And then eventually you will be an expert.
Yeah. It's easier said than done, but it is 100% true. I have always marveled at the boldness of people who feel perfectly fine putting expert under their name as like it's their title. And I remember when I realized like they didn't have any certificate from the National Association of Pop Culture Geniuses. They just were like, I'm an expert on pop culture.
Right. And you're like, okay, well, that's what we need.
That's fine. I will accept that. Like they didn't ever give me their curriculum vitae. They just, I'm an expert. And I was like, cool. And they didn't know what they were talking about any more than I did.
That is so Interesting.
But again, easier said than done, because how many times have I been like, I'm not ready to come out of the closet as the expert I am.
Right. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like even with this podcast, I knew nothing about podcasting, really. I mean, there's so much information out there that all I really did was Google. In fact, the other day, a friend reached out and she said, hey, I've been listening to your podcast. Can you walk me through the steps of how to do all this? And I was like, I just went to Google.
You're like, let me just, there's one step and
Right.
it's Google.
It is. It
100%.
is. And I thought, I mean, speaking of mezel, speaking of but I was like, you just have to start.
Yeah.
You just have to start, and you're going to figure it out as you go. And I make mistakes all the time. And you know, one day I'll be able to afford a producer. But, you know, I say the wrong stuff. I mess up. I say, you know, but it's like, that's what we got to do.
Right.
If we want to live out loud.
So here's my favorite part about the bronze medal life is that you can even get a bronze medal at living the bronze medal life.
Oh, I'm living it, but I only got third place.
No, you're still you're still on the podium. Like, that's what I love about it. Like, because I'm the same way as you. I was like, I need to have everything. I was sitting at lunch with my friend Paul, who I used to work with at the radio station, and he's actually an expert. Like, he's an engineer, he's all kinds of stuff. And we're sitting there chatting, and he goes, so what is this bronze medal life thing that you've been talking about? And I hadn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
And he goes, I go, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm having a hard time. Like, I can't elevator speech it. But like, I think it's like this, and I think I want to do this, and I there's probably a little bit of this. And he goes, so why aren't you doing it? And I was like, well, because I can't describe it. And he goes, who cares? He goes, just do it.
Just start.
And I go, oh, you're right, dude. You're absolutely right. And that's the thing about the bronze, like it's like nobody comes out with the perfectly polished, that's not true. Some people do. Taylor Swift come out with the perfectly polished thing. And it seems like all they can do is make hits, whatever that is. Right. But that's the 1%.
Right. The rest of us are just like
trying to make
it.
Yeah. And it's okay. And that, to me, that's more interesting.
Me too.
Do you remember Opit's Outlet?
Of course.
Okay.
Do I remember it? Is it
it's
gone?
Still a thing. No,
okay,
it's still a thing. But they used to have a location on Excelsior Boulevard in St. Louis Park. And when you'd be driving down Excelsior Boulevard, my favorite thing about Opit's Outlet is on the front of the window, there was a sign that said, hooray for damages and flaws.
Oh.
And I flippin' loved that sign.
Yeah.
Because to me, it was about more than just being able to get designer clothes for a low price. It was like they were celebrating that these were imperfect things.
Oh, I love that.
I love it too. So I think about that all the time, because to me, that's more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I am more interested in people who, show me that they're a little bit of a disaster. I find that far more interesting and fascinating than somebody who arrives completely polished.
Ready to go.
I'm like, you're hiding something. You're a murderer. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that.
I love that was, I mean, yes, I'm totally on board with you're hiding something, but then you just immediately went to murderer. Right. That is fascinating, Colleen.
There was a super hot guy when we were in high school that went to Mount Olivet that was at camp with us. And I remember looking at, I'm not going to say his name, Mike Taylor.
I was just going to say it's Mike Taylor.
You knew it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, my God.
And I remember looking at him and thinking to myself, he's got to have ugly toes or something that I can't see, because nobody is that polished and beautiful.
Yep.
And I truly believe that in the world. When I see something that my eyes are like, that looks polished and so put together, they look like they know exactly what they're doing.
Right.
I have to stop myself and remind myself they've got something somewhere.
Right.
Just like I do. And maybe they don't come into the room with it like I do. I generally lead with it. but to me, I'm more interested in that. I don't want to talk to the person who is trying to tell me how perfect and everything is together in their life.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. And I think that that's where theater has done I don't want to say theater has done a disservice to me. Theater's done nothing to me. except give me some amazing friendships. But I think about
and a really great husband.
Oh, yes. Theater did give me that.
Yeah.
But I think about like the audition process where what you do is you show up like the person that you were just describing.
Yeah.
No flaws. You need to look a certain way. You need to be dressed a certain way. You need to sing, dance, act a certain way because that's what you're going to get paid to do. And it's definitely given me sort of a false sense of reality. And I've allowed that. I'm not, saying I'm not without fault there, but yes. And it wasn't until really the pandemic where all of that was shut down and we couldn't do those jobs anymore that I was like, what am I doing? Like I could still love theater and be a part of theater, but it's not real. Like I'm getting paid to pretend. And I don't know that I really want to do that anymore. What I want to do is get paid to just show up.
To just be Nikki.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is enough.
Right. Exactly. It's plenty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I just love, I just love I was going to say the idea of bronze medal life, but it's not an idea. It's not like
a
this
full
concept.
ass lifestyle.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
And just embracing normalcy.
The other day, I was sitting in my living room and I was belly aching about something. I wish I could remember what it was, but I'm sure it was something very trivial. Like I had not cleaned some area of my house and somebody was coming over or something. It was something like that where it was really all about the performance.
Yeah.
And my husband just turned and looked at me and he goes, "That's not bronze medal." And I was like, oh man, oof, you are reading me right now. But
I love that. That's not bronze medal.
But the cool thing is that like, if you're going to do this, you got to do it and you have to call yourself on stuff sometimes. Yeah. So sometimes it does mean like the person that you love the most catching you, not like falling into the trap of perfection or like, trying to attain the unattainable. And there's something awesome about that too, because like I trust my husband. He's great. He totally loves me.
Yes,
warts and all.
Yes,
like he has.
Shout out to Matt Lindstrom.
He's the best. that he got to be the person in that moment that he knew I could trust him.
Yeah,
and that he just told like, you're not being bronze medal right now. That's not who you are. That's not what you're about.
Yeah. Why are you like
trying to put some on for somebody else? Yep. That's not who you are. You don't have to
do that. Yeah.
No.
I actually thought about this when I was, quote unquote, cleaning my house today. Because I was like, I should clean. We don't have people over all that often. And we're not like dirty people.
But you live in your house.
We live in our house.
Do. Right.
And it's decently picked up. But like, it's not super duper clean. And I cleaned the room that we were sitting in right now. And then once that started, of course, I was like, I should do this and this and this. And I was like, Colleen's coming over and Colleen is not a person that I need to clean my house for. And honestly, those are the kinds of friends that I want. I don't have to clean my house for you. But B, we're going to be talking about bronze medal life. Why would I ever be like, ooh, let me just paint this wall real quick before you get here.
Right? Right?
Yes.
I have a friend who one time came over to my house and I had cleaned for her. And she literally walked in the door. We had no discussion about this. And she just rearranged everything, like knocked over a couple pictures and just like rearranged everything on a little table on her way in. She goes, okay. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I can just tell you clean for me. And I wanted you to know you don't have to.
Okay. I love
like
that.
Messed it up a little bit for me. Because here's the thing. Like, I always think about this too. Like, catalogs and magazines and even TV and movies like do us such a disservice because everything always looks perfect.
Right.
Nobody lives like that.
No.
Even when I'm watching HGTV, and I love Hometown, like give me Aaron and Ben Napier all day, every day. Like I seriously love them. I love what they're doing to the city of Laurel. If you're not watching it, you should be watching it.
I'm not watching it.
It's so great.
Okay.
Like it's this sleepy little town that they live in and they love the town and they're like reviving it by making it more beautiful. It's great. But the stuff that they do when they bring people into their new house, I think to myself, these people, I'm sure they're so grateful and they're thinking, where am I going to put my like disgusting blankets that we watch TV going? Under?
Yeah.
Also, there's never a TV in any of those rooms.
Oh, interesting.
They never have a TV. And I'm like, They also like don't show you like half of the rooms. All I'm saying is everybody has a mess somewhere.
Right.
in their house, in their person, in their family.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom used to say, and it was really gross at the time because I was little and I hated it. But to keep me in check, she would say, your shit stinks just as much as everyone else's. And I was like, oh, yeah, we all poop. Remember, what's that book?
Everybody poops. Yep.
Yeah. You know, just like keep it in check. Yes. We're all human beings. And it's one of the reasons why I don't filter my photos on social.
I love you for that.
I did once for a painting that I did because the colors that I could see with my eyes were not showing up on the photograph. And like, I get why some people need to filter some of their pictures.
Yep.
But like, if it's a picture of me, I'll just like, this is what I look like today, you know, I
always think it's funny too, because I'm like, we have eyeballs.
Right.
So when I see you out and about, I'm going to be like, when I think about this with, okay, here I go back into celebrity world, but I think about this with the Kardashians. Like, they filter the heck out of their photographs. But if I ever saw them in person, I'd be like, you don't look anything like those pictures.
Right.
And do you think I'm dumb? That I can't see? Or what is it? Like, thank you.
You're welcome.
But like, what is the point of that? I don't understand the point of it. And so it's even more egregious when it's people in your life that you know, and you see, I mean, you know, we all know the person who, and I love you too, the person who overfilters your picture for whatever reason you're doing that. I love you too. Yep. But we can tell. We can tell.
We can tell.
We see it because we know, because we have eyeballs. And so we know what you really look like.
Because we have eyeballs.
Because we have eyeballs. And I get it too, right? Because sometimes you catch yourself in a profile view because you never see yourself in profile.
I know.
And you go, oh, ew.
Whoa, do I look like that?
And then I realize, yeah, I do.
Yep.
And to everybody else, that looks perfectly normal.
Right.
But I never see that part of me.
Right.
So who cares? That's what my profile looks like.
Girl, you got a great profile.
Thank you. I like yours.
Oh, Spanx. So how can we support you on this brand new adventure?
Okay, so this is first of all, the first way you can support me is just by recognizing that the world would be a happier place if we honestly just all were okay being just okay. Yeah. I think we would have just a little more compassion for each other and grace for each other. So that's just like an easy way. Like, you're sitting here listening right now, and hopefully it touched your heart a little bit. But if you do like what you hear and you want to have more of it in your life.
I do.
Thank you, Nikki. For the low price of free $99.
Free $99. Oh my gosh, I love that. I'm going to steal it.
You can listen to the Bronze Medal Life podcast.
Yes.
It's available everywhere podcasts are podcasting. Maybe not all the places right now, but I'm working on it. It's Bronze Medal Life. We're Bronze Medal rolling it out.
Yeah.
But you can listen to my podcast, and you can do all this by just going to my website, thebronzemedallife.com. You can read my Substack. You can get in touch with me and tell me what kinds of things you want to hear me talk about. You can check in and tell me ways that you're living a Bronze Medal life, and I will hopefully be able to feature that in certain ways. It's funny because I hesitate to be all about me.
Yeah, but I know it feels weird, doesn't it?
It feels weird,
yeah.
But also, I kind of know myself the best. But I love to hear other people's ways that they're incorporating the Bronze Medal life, or ways that they have seen that show up in their life. So communicate with me, send me emails, whatever. And then check out my silly little store. It really is. I just like silly things. So
it's really cute.
I have at my house, I actually have a box that says napping supplies, and it's where we put all of the blankets and the pillows in the rooms that blankets and pillows don't usually exist in, like your bedroom. So we just like have it in our living room.
Yes.
Because when you need a nap, you just need to have your supplies close. So I have an actual napping supplies box that you can get. I have a blanket that says do not disturb in my store, because my children will see me sleeping and still talk to me. And I'm like,
I'm asleep.
Do not disturb. One time I was writing my friend a text, and I meant to say kicking ass and taking names, and it autocorrected to kicking ass and taking naps. And I just kept that. So I've got some shirts with that sentiment on it. Kicking ass and taking naps.
Because I do both of those things.
Yeah. And I think that naps are important because they help you regenerate so you can live a bronze medal life.
You are preaching to the choir here.
So there's all kinds of good little goodies on there. And then, of course, there's all the sad lion fun that you can have.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
Little color.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Just to see like how this is going to pan out for you. And I know, anytime you start a new business, like I know when I started Heal and Grow, I was doing like coaching for a while and skip, no thank you. Like I'm just so excited to see, what you're working on now. And in 3 months, are you going to be like, oh, let's tweak this, let's do this, or, and what it's going to be a year from now. I'm just so excited for you, Colleen.
Thank you. That's kind of the best part about doing this is like anytime you start something new, it's like, just do it. Just try it.
Just
like
start.
if you've got the seed of an idea, because it's going to take form and it's going to change and it's going to be different 6 years down the road than it is the day you start. And all of that is okay. And that's the process. So I'm all about the process. And that's what the bronze medal life is.
Yes.
Yay.
Celebrating the process. This was awesome. Come back anytime.
I would love to. Thank you.
Okay. What are you doing tomorrow?
It's not a podcast. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But maybe another time.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. Thanks for letting me down easy. This was so great. I love you so much.
I love you.
Thank you for being here.
I am so excited for what you're doing. So we'll just find more fun ways to collaborate together so people can heal and grow and live a bronze medal life.
Oh my gosh. New podcast.
There you go.
I'm going to link all of Colleen's info, all of the public info in my show notes. So please be sure to support her and check her out. Okay. Love you.
Love you.
Bye. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, or professional advice. I am not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice.